Peter Aldous.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. At the start of the pandemic, the government were quite right to move very fast, without any prompting, to introduce the £20 uplift to universal credit. Now that we are hopefully in the tail end of the pandemic, it would be wrong to hastily remove the uplift. Yes, there is a need to be fiscally responsible and to balance the books, and thus, in this September sitting, policies are being introduced that sit uncomfortably with many of us. However, at the same time, we have a duty and a responsibility to protect those on the lowest incomes and the most vulnerable in society. All the evidence shows that a sudden reduction in income of this magnitude will hit a lot of people very hard. Before the introduction of the uplift, the annual uprating of universal credit had been frozen for 4 years. Now, looking forward, families are faced with rising costs on all fronts. Food up, fuel up, rent up, childcare costs up, and getting to work, quite often, particularly in East Anglia, a real challenge. The rising of housing costs, in particular, is driving in-work poverty. For those in work, for those unable to work, and for those between jobs, universal credit should allow people to live with some dignity without descending into spiralling situations of poor mental health, debt and poverty. The introduction of universal credit, Madam Deputy Speaker, over the past 10 years has been incredibly challenging. But when it was really needed during the pandemic, it has worked incredibly well. No sensible voices are now calling for it to be scrapped. And what we now need to do is to complete the task of welfare reform. The best way to do this is to retain the uplift, which is targeted at the poorest, helps people stay afloat, and then enables them to make positive decisions to improve their circumstances and to improve their lives. We are fortunate, as we've heard, that there is a strong jobs market at the moment. But there are, unfortunately, people who are too far away from the labour market to take immediate advantage of these opportunities. Our welfare system should provide them with the stability and the security so that they can then acquire the skills to move into work and then to climb up the ladder to rewarding and better paid jobs. Madam Deputy Speaker, universal credit has been the flagship of the government's essential work to reform welfare. The scale of the task means that there are still many challenges to overcome to ensure that it works for everyone. The pandemic has put the system to the sternest of tests, and it has worked well. We now know that it can cope under crisis. And with an increase in support, it is a system that can better protect families when they face hardship. At the current time, we face challenges unprecedented in peacetime. In economic terms, these are building back better from the pandemic, levelling up so that all corners of our 4 countries can share the proceeds of growth, and eliminating that stubbornly wide productivity gap. Madam Deputy Speaker, investment in infrastructure is important, but what transcends that and what is absolutely critical is investment in people. Retaining the uplift will help prevent many people from falling into poverty and despair, and it will also provide the platform from which families can plan for better futures and can then realise their aspirations. As a society and as an economy, we will all be better for that.